This podcast is brought to you by Glitterati Communications. Learn more about Glitterati at bglitterati.com. What's up? My name is Dwayne Jones. I'm an artist and a designer and the founder of a lifestyle brand called Art Pays Me. And this is the Art Pays Me podcast. I love talking to creative people about their business, their successes, their challenges, and how they make the world a better place with their work. Let's get into it. Welcome to a special series of Art Pays Me interviews with the winners of the 2023 Creative Nova Scotia Awards. Presented by Arts Nova Scotia and the Creative Nova Scotia Leadership Council, the Creative Nova Scotia Awards celebrate excellence in artistic achievement. The award categories are as follows: Creative Community Impact, Prix Grand-Pré, Established Artist, Emerging Artist, Black Artist, Indigenous Artist, and finally the Portia White Prize that is given to a person who has made outstanding and significant contributions to Nova Scotia's creative community over a sustained career, much like the incredible woman that the award is named after. The winner will also choose an emerging artist or cultural organization that they feel deserve some additional recognition and let's be real, some bread, some extra funding, because money is what enables us to do what we do. Collectively, the awards are worth $75,000. Visit artsns.ca to nominate your favorite Nova Scotia artist, or be a boss and nominate yourself. We artists got to start, looking out for number one. You know what I'm saying? Like, who's gonna take care of us if we don't take care of ourselves, right? It's okay. Anyway, this series, it would not be possible without the fantastic production work of Heist and Kiki Beats. Shout out to them once again. So nice to meet you.
You too.
If you could state your name, your pronouns, and your artistic medium for me.
Sure. My name is Marissa Cruz, and my pronouns are they, them. I am a video, performance, and digital multimedia artist, which I think encompasses a lot of different things. I have many different interests when it comes to electronics and fooling around with technology. But in its most basic sense, that's what I do.
Mm-hmm. So were you the type of kid that picked up on all of that? Soon as something new came out, you just were there?
Yeah, my parents didn't really limit me in my screen time, so I did watch a lot of TV, and I had access to the internet from a very young age.
Yeah.
So I was particularly interested in what was going on online, and I guess how digital interfaces work. I've always been kind of fascinated by those things. Actually, one of my fears is this phenomenon that you unplug a TV or something and it stays on. I don't know, I've always felt this ghostly essence about technology, I think. So I've always been very fascinated by it.
Yeah, like that. I've seen that sometimes actually, where you unplug something for a little bit of time,
yeah,
it actually
stays on.
And you're like, what?
It's really scary to me.
Yeah.
So I think there's something maybe to that I've always been intrigued by this mystique of how these things work too.
Yeah. So is there a particular work that you're proud of that you've done?
I think that just based on circumstance, I made this video work called Fires, Wires, Gas, Glass, People, Pets, and Poison.
Okay.
Very long title. But it was made entirely in lockdown. And so I think it really solidified a way that I like to work, which is I make things on my own terms. And, if I want to make something happen, I'll try to do it in a jigsaw puzzle way.
Yeah.
So some of it's in my parents' basement. Some of it's just filmed by friends who politely ask them to help me film in public spaces. And basically just working with the things that I was handed to just make a work happen. So I think in terms of its grittiness, I like that work. but hopefully down the line there'll be something that I can be prouder of.
Right.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah.
I hope.
That's, you never want to be like washed. That's like a nightmare for me.
Right. Yeah.
Like, so like when I think of the why that matters so much to you, it's more because you've had that independence to.
Yeah, I think so. I think like particularly too about working in experimental media in Nova Scotia is also like there's a sense of like scrappiness that I really value, and I'm really happy to be a part of a community that is also into scrappiness, who are just like, okay, how do we make something happen? Who do we know? And like the community here is really supportive of that. Like, do you have this kind of mixer? Yes, great. I'm gonna borrow it, give it back, bring you a meal, and that's our trade. Like, that's what's nice about it.
Nice.
Too. Yeah.
Nice. Like, so you were really inspired by internet culture, but is there like a particular moment when you said, I know that I want to be an artist?
I've been asked this before, and I think like the most blunt answer that I can give is it was like what I felt that I was only good at. Like I was only good at doing this. I could have been like a mediocre like accountant, but I think I'd be a better artist. And I think that also this like world kind of presents us many reasons why we shouldn't do it, but to persist has been both rewarding and also, I guess, challenging would be the right word. But I think it's like really amazing that there is this persistence to do it.
I mean, so like your work is, when I think about it in two ways. I think about it in like, in the traditional sense, maybe someone might say it's not commercially viable. But then I think about someone like a Doja Cat or Lady Gaga, or some like a lot of people who like to experiment with different looks and different ideas, and even in fashion. Then you would fit right into that kind of commercial space.
Yeah.
So when you say it's challenging, how do you like? Is it like negotiating how far you go into like the weirdness, or?
Right. Yeah, I think it's like I've had people suggest to me about like ways I could make it something of like more profit.
Yeah.
But I don't think that necessarily interests me. And in a way that like there's people that do like really elaborate digital collages like I do, or like really elaborate makeup or like whatever.
Yeah.
But I think that they have their own path like cut for them, that they can like make it and work with people that are interested in that in their work. But like for me, it's like you get what you get. Like if you want to have like a scrap job prosthetic and like maybe filmed a little out of focus, maybe like there's gonna be kind of like I said before, like some jigsaw puzzling, some workshopping, like troubleshooting, that I'm just like, that kind of professionalism that I think is also sometimes associated with like this clean cut commercial aesthetic.
Yeah.
Doesn't always like fit cleanly for me, and I don't really want it to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you're very principled in that way of like, this is my idea, this is my vision. And I respect that. Like you're very protective of like who you are in that space. So, I mean, is there, I mean, I think you somewhat explained this, but is there like a driving force or something that like continues to make you feel like you have to express yourself in this way?
Yeah, I actually just feel like the driving force is like, this is the way that I've come to understand how I want to present ideas.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't know any other way how. Like I'm not I write in my work and I make sound and I do all these things, but like to make a video art piece and perform in front of the camera is kind of the language that I've developed to building these, as I like to think of them, as like allegories or poems to describe ideas or concepts. Yeah. Okay.
For you too, like when you're creating, are there like routines that you kind of regularly do?
Yeah, my studio is in my bedroom. Like I have this desk that is connected to another desk, and like my wires are, I've tried to organize them, like I try to stay organized, but when you have like a home studio
Sure.
and it's in your bedroom, like sometimes there's just gonna be like a memory card in your bed or something. Like there should be things where there shouldn't be things.
Yeah.
But that's also like kind of a challenge about being in Nova Scotia, is like there's not a lot of studio spaces around.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of people struggle with finding spaces that aren't falling apart too. Like I know there are studios, but some of them have like damage to them, and I just feel very strongly about being in spaces that honor the work that's being made as well. So I mean, my bedroom is kind of this necessity. So when I'm trying to make a work, a lot of it is just like out of bed to the computer. Mm-hmm. And I do a lot of like, I consume a lot of media. So I watch a lot of movies, listen to a lot of music, mm-hmm. read quite a bit. So it really, those things inform my work a lot.
Yeah, so you say those like consuming culture on some level is like such essential ingredients.
It's completely essential. Mm-hmm. Which is maybe also a bit of an excuse about why I use my phone so much, like to see what's going on in the world. But it's like super important for me, especially making work talking about, you know, a generalized culture, like being really intentional about what I'm trying to say or like what I'm referencing. Because I think sometimes it can be too like broad of a stroke. Like I really need to be informed to make something.
Yeah, I'm similar in mm-hmm. that way too. Like I have to consume culture, and a lot of my work is a reaction to what's happening in yeah. culture or history. So, I mean, you also talked about Nova Scotia. Mm-hmm. So, like with those limitations, like how does living in Nova Scotia impact your creativity and the work that you make beyond that, I guess?
Mm-hmm. I think like it presents a multitude of challenges, okay. Unfortunately. I have, like I mentioned, like a really strong group of people who are supportive yeah. and, you know, uplift each other. But it's a small but like mighty group, but it really is challenging sometimes to make work that isn't like, it doesn't have like maybe a resounding voice in things. Like it's hard to I guess in the words of like grant applications or something, like sell my work mm-hmm. To get funding to some people who may not have seen something like this before. Mm-hmm. So that can be challenging, and I think that's a lot of the reasons why people who are interested in like new media work choose to go to Montreal, Vancouver, Toronto, and leave the East Coast just in terms of more resources or like bigger community. And yeah. I respect that, but I also really like being in Nova Scotia and being a part of really incredible like media arts and new media and performance arts, like collective of people, and yeah. making it happen here and giving it, like we have a lot to say. Yes. And this Nova Scotian experience is like unique. So I think it like, of course, there should be really interesting work that comes out of here. Like I like being a part of that.
Yes. Yeah. When you think about how people consume your work, is there a particular reaction you're hoping to get from them, or are you like expecting them to get it, or do you even care? Are you like, if they get it or not?
I have a little bit of like oh, you could get it or not in my body, yeah. But like truly for me, one of my places of like connection is just when people have that sense of familiarity. Yeah. It could be like, because I use a lot of pop culture references in my videos and like digital relics. Yeah. I feel like there's just seeing that point of like recognition in people is kind of enough. Mm-hmm. So yeah, like one video, I'm Chester the Cheetah from yeah. the Cheetos franchise, and I'm like, I don't know how much I can share, but I'm smoking a Cheeto, and people find that really funny, and they laugh and they draw a connection and know who it is. And I think like that feels really gratifying to me that there's a connection on that level.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool. So you're now an award winner again, officially.
Woo.
How does getting this award feel to you?
It's great. I'm really excited, and I think like it's really lovely that there's a way to acknowledge emerging artists that are coming out of this province. So I'm really looking forward to it. Yeah.
Great. Like when it comes to determining which element of pop culture that you actually want to dig into in your work, how do you decide that? Like you chose Chester the cheetah. Like, so why that?
I think it's like when I'm thinking about what I want to use in my videos or like use in a digital collage or something, I like kind of lean towards images or sounds that are like embedded into like meme culture, or like they have a certain like grotesqueness to them.
Yes.
Like I think dressing up as the cheetah, just for example, like there was ways to make this character really slobbish and like embody a personality. And I think those kind of associations are at the core of like how I develop or choose these ideas. I've been really into like old Snapchat filters too, and the dog filter has been really like important in my work actually.
Okay.
And I think like that says something about a very specific moment in time, and the kind of like music we were listening to, or the kind of like events that were happening at that time.
Right.
Yeah.
That makes sense, and I don't know if I'm like telling on myself, like, or is this just basically me, the way I've been socialized as a cisgender male? But like, looking at some of your stuff, I'm like, both like you said, there's a grotesqueness to it. I'm like, oh, this is kind of gross, but like I can't stop looking at it.
Yeah.
And then I feel guilty for looking at it at the
No,
same
that's
time.
awesome. That's awesome. I like to like, and I always have really liked to play with ideas of like both like an attraction and repulsion.
Okay.
So there's like reasons why it's complicated.
Yes.
So a lot of my work is like never really trying to like say or assert my positionality that like I'm right, but more just trying to make sense of things. So like these confusing feelings, or these maybe like pushing associations that we have when we look at images or like hear sounds, are kind of the core of like being an artist and just trying to make sense of systems that are bigger than us, or ideas or concepts that are all consuming. So I just think about them as complications being a strength and a probing, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I love that too. It just that's the type of stuff that excites me, but I'm also scared to do myself, and I'm like working on breaking that barrier. So I appreciate you being a person that is doing that, and I hope you continue to. So thank you. It was nice meeting you.
It was nice to meet you too.
Yes.
Thank you.
Make sure you go to artsns.ca to nominate yourself or nominate your favorite Nova Scotia-based artist. But you can nominate yourself too, right? Cool. Check me out at artpaysme.com. Peace.